Amplify is back. Don't miss the chance to improve every part of your business by connecting with industry experts, hearing best practices from top dealerships, and learning how to optimize your system for profitability at every turn. You don't want to miss the Amplify experience that is designed to help your dealership improve.
Welcome to Daily Drive for Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. I'm Jamie Butters, Executive Editor of Automotive News in Detroit.
And I'm Kellen Walker in Las Vegas. Today on the show, GM makes a blockbuster investment in U.S. production. President Trump says he's reached a framework of a deal with China on rare earth materials. And Elon Musk says he regrets his social media onslaught against President Trump. Plus, Tesla plans to launch robotaxi rides later this month. Telemetry's Sam Abuelsamid joins the show to talk about why he thinks it raises risk for the entire self-driving industry.
People will hopefully recognize a distinction between the Tesla approach to this and what everyone else is doing.
Let's run through all the news you need to know to keep up in the auto industry.
General Motors says it will invest close to $4 billion in 3 U.S. assembly plants over the next 2 years. That's as it boosts production of internal combustion engine vehicles and plans for future low-priced electric vehicles. The automaker did not break out the amount to be invested in each plant, but said Tuesday that the dollars will go to Orion Assembly in Michigan, Fairfax Assembly in Kansas, and Spring Hill Manufacturing in Tennessee. A company source tells us at Automotive News that gasoline-powered Blazer production will move out of Mexico, while production of the gasoline-powered Equinox in Mexico will be for other markets. GM has said President Trump's tariffs will cost the company $4 to $5 billion this year, and executives have lowered GM's full-year earnings guidance.
Meanwhile, crosstown rival Ford says its employee pricing discount aimed at easing consumer fears over import tariffs has boosted its U.S. market share significantly. Ford Blue and Ford Model E president Andrew Frick says Ford had 14.7% share in the U.S. at the end of May. That's up 1.9 percentage points year over year. Ford started offering employee pricing to all customers on April 2nd in response to Trump's import tariffs. The incentive applies to most new Ford models. It was slated to end June 2nd, but has been extended through July 6th. Stellantis has a similar offer running through the end of June.
President Trump says the U.S. has completed a trade framework with China. That's after China's restriction on exports of rare earths and magnets threatened to shut down vehicle and parts assembly. The president says the U.S. and China will maintain tariffs at their current lower levels following negotiations between the two nations this week in London. Trump said he and Chinese President Xi Jinping must still formally sign off on the agreement. Trump said Beijing will supply rare earths and magnets, quote, up front, though details of the framework agreement have not been released.
And Tesla CEO Elon Musk has issued his strongest sign yet of contrition over how he handled his rupture with President Trump. On his social media platform X, Musk said, quote, "I regret some of my posts about President Trump last week." He continued, quote, "They went too far." The dispute was triggered by Musk's opposition to the budget bill Trump is pushing through Congress. The quarrel posed a threat to Musk's wealth when the president raised the prospect of retaliating by cutting off his government contracts. That would have battered SpaceX, and Tesla's stock price tumbled before recovering most of the loss. And those are today's headlines. So, Jamie, GM will invest $4 billion in 3 plants. How will this help the company combat tariffs?
You know, the more they make in the U.S., the less the risk of paying tariffs. You know, this is really kind of exactly what President Trump has been asking for. He put tariffs on imports to make it more expensive to make things elsewhere and bring them into the U.S. GM's going to invest in U.S. manufacturing, take some work out of Mexico. So looks like a win for the president.
Gotcha. Coming up, Telemetry's Sam Abuelsamid joins the show to talk about Tesla's upcoming robotaxi rollout and what it could mean for the entire self-driving industry. That's next on Daily Drive.
The 2025 Automotive Golf Classic is coming up soon, raising funds for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Southeastern Michigan. Players will tee off Monday, June 16th at St. John's Resort in Plymouth, Michigan.
Attendees will get exclusive access to the third annual Automotive News Supplier Panel discussion just prior to tee time at 9 a.m. This year's remarks will feature Paul Thomas, president of Bosch North America, along with Colin Shaw, president of MEMA Original Equipment Suppliers. The executive guests will discuss challenges for suppliers stemming from the current trade landscape, new U.S. tariffs, and other critical issues facing the supply chain.
For more information about this event, reach out to Tiffany Sula at the Boys and Girls Clubs at tsula@bgcsm.org or to Philip Nussel, AGC Executive Chairman at pnussel@crane.com.
Amplify 2025 is right around the corner. Are you ready? Join the industry's leading innovators this August 18th and 19th at the Ritz-Carlton Dallas Las Colinas and be part of the event that will reshape retail automotive. At this 2-day experience, you'll explore new strategies and fresh ideas for driving real growth at your dealership. Choose from 9 hands-on workshops, each designed to deliver practical insights across every department. Gain forward-thinking perspectives during our expert-led keynote session, and leave with actionable takeaways to implement right away. And it's not all business. Amplify also gives you the chance to connect with fellow professionals on the greens at TPC Las Colinas, the iconic course that hosted the PGA Tour's Byron Nelson Championship for 35 years. Secure your spot at Amplify 2025 today by visiting rayray.com/amplify. That's rey.com/amplify today.
Welcome back to Daily Drive. I'm Jamie Butters with Kellen Walker. Tesla tentatively plans to begin offering rides on its self-driving robotaxis to the public on June 22nd. CEO Elon Musk has staked Tesla's future on self-driving vehicles, pivoting away from plans to build a cheaper EV platform. Much of the company's valuation hangs on that vision. But today's guest says the fate of the entire self-driving industry is also in the balance. Sam Abuelsamid is Vice President of Market Research at Telemetry. He joins me now from his home office near Ann Arbor. Sam Abuelsamid, welcome to Daily Drive.
Hello, Jamie. It's good to be with you on this show for the first time, I think.
First time I've listened to you on the Automotive News Shift podcast about mobility. Good to have you here on Daily Drive. And we've known each other a long time, and you have been known for many years in past professional roles for your rankings of automated driving systems. Brand names come and go, but your expertise remains. So with Tesla about to launch its robo-taxi service, I mean, how does it compare with Waymo and other systems out there?
Well, so far, all the signs that we've seen, there's always people posting videos online of their use of FSD. There are probably tens of thousands of videos on YouTube showing FSD in operation. And so I regularly check in on some of those. Even with the latest generation, the latest software versions, version 13.2.9 point something, running on their latest generation hardware 4, which means upgraded cameras, upgraded compute, it still makes a lot of really bad mistakes. It works really well a lot of the time, but it randomly does things that are terrible, like making left turns where there's nowhere to make a left turn, veering off into oncoming traffic, running towards center barriers on the road. Just recently there was some video posted by the Dawn Project where they did some testing with one of these with a school bus. They parked a school bus, had the lights flashing, the stop sign out, and then had a pedestrian mannequin child walk across in front of the school bus. The Tesla completely ignored it, did not respond at all to it, and repeatedly ran over the mannequin. So I think the challenge with the way that Tesla has approached FSD is they've got what they claim is a full end-to-end AI stack that nobody really understands what's going on inside of there. And they are also using a camera-only system that is less robust than a multi-sensor system. And so, as we've all seen with various types of of modern AI. It does things that look amazing a lot of the time and can work really well a lot of the time. But it also frequently makes random mistakes that are inexplicable, and it just makes things up. And that's what Tesla's FSD still seems to do on a regular basis.
That's, it's really problematic, right? Because cars drive for lots of miles, and even if they're perfect for 99 out of 100 miles, they're going to go several hundred miles, and doing something random and dangerous once every 100 miles or so is going to be, really bad for the people of Austin and for the industry. So how's Tesla going to manage this? Are they going to have, monitor drivers behind the wheel, or how are they going to can they use technology to beyond the robot driver to help, keep the streets safe?
What they're probably going to do, they've said this is going to be a driverless service, a driverless robotaxi service. And we already have Waymo running in multiple cities, including Austin, where Tesla is planning to launch their service. And just yesterday, I can't remember if it was Tesla or somebody else, posted a video showing a Model Y that was being tested, making a left-hand turn with no one behind the steering wheel. There was someone riding in the front passenger seat. So they're claiming it's going to be driverless. But I think that is somewhat misleading. All the indications are that this is still going to be technically a level 2 system where there is someone supervising all the time. But instead of that supervisor, that safety driver sitting behind the steering wheel, that safety operator is going to be sitting somewhere remotely watching a video stream from the vehicle with a steering wheel and pedals ready to intervene at any moment in time, which is a fundamentally different approach from what other automated driving system developers like Waymo and Motional and Zoox do, which is remote assistance, where there's someone that's watching the video streams from the vehicles. They're not intervening, but what they're doing is if the vehicle determines that it doesn't know what to do in a particular scenario, it will alert that remote operator, and that person can then provide some guidance and some assistance, and maybe plot out a path to get around a construction zone, or give it some guidance as to what to do. In this case, it looks like Tesla is actually going to have that remote safety driver that is constantly ready to intervene directly hopefully before the vehicle crashes.
Yeah, hopefully before. So the other companies that have done this remote monitoring or remote supervision, it's sort of maybe a matter of scale. Somebody monitoring 10 cars at a time versus basically one monitor per vehicle.
Yeah, so it depends on where they are. In California right now, under California regulations, there still has to be one monitor per vehicle when the vehicle's operating, but they're not set up to intervene, or at least they say they're not set up to intervene while the vehicle is driving. They're watching and they're ready to provide assistance if needed, but they're not there to grab the wheel and when the vehicle suddenly steers into a barrier and try to steer it away. And what Tesla is doing is what all the other companies do before they get to the driverless stage, when they have a human safety operator in the vehicle. But the way Tesla is doing it is less safe, because there is some latency between when something happens in the real world, and we're often talking about split-second situations, and modern communications is pretty fast, but there's still some latency involved between when that remote safety operator sees something, grabs the wheel, makes an adjustment, or hits the brake pedal, and the vehicle actually responding to that. And that could be all the delay that you need to have a tragic incident.
So if there is one, does that risk ruining the situation, the environment for all the other companies trying to launch robotaxi services?
It doesn't help. Certainly if you think back to 2018 when there was the fatal Uber crash in Tucson, where an Uber test vehicle struck a pedestrian crossing a road, there was a lot of consternation about that. A lot of people lost trust in the technology. And Uber never really recovered from that in terms of their own development of automated driving systems. Now, subsequently, Uber ended up selling off ATG, their advanced technology group, to Aurora Innovation, took it over and absorbed that. And Uber is now just partnering with other companies developing these systems. I think, people will hopefully recognize a distinction between the Tesla approach to this and what everyone else is doing. And if there is an incident, and hopefully there isn't, but I suspect that we will probably see some incidents in the coming weeks and months. And if that happens, then hopefully people will look at, okay, I see the way Tesla is doing this with cameras only and remote operators. This is clearly not the right solution. I see, Waymo is doing 250, 300,000 driverless rides every week. And, it looks like the Waymo approach is the better solution. And that, I think that ultimately, will hopefully have minimized the impact on the industry as a whole.
You can hear more of my conversation with Sam on this week's bonus episode. We talk about Tesla's brand image in the wake of Elon Musk's fallout with President Trump. That will be available right here on Sunday. That's Daily Drive for today. I'm Jamie Butters.
And I'm Kellen Walker. Thanks to Automotive News executive producer Jake Neer, as well as our own John Irwin, Lindsay Van Hully, and Michael Martinez for their reporting for today's podcast. You can get the latest news on the self-driving industry, trade policy, and everything happening in the auto industry at autonews.com.
Come back tomorrow for my conversation with OpenLane CEO Peter Kelly. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think of the show and the topics we covered today. Send us an email at dailydrive@autonews.com or leave us a voicemail at 313-444-2774. And if you enjoy the podcast, remember to like, leave a review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.